Amen.
Acts chapter 27, beginning with verse number 21. Acts chapter 27, beginning with verse number 21, reading from the New NIV version. After they had gone a long time without food, Paul stood up before them and said, "Men, you should have taken my advice and not to sail from Crete. Then you would have spared yourself this damage and loss. But now I urge you to keep up your courage, because not one of you will be lost. Only the ship will be destroyed. Last night an angel of the God to whom I belong and whom I serve stood beside me and said, 'Do not be afraid, Paul. You must stand trial before Caesar. God has graciously given you the lives of all who sail with you. Keep up your courage, men, for I have faith in God that it will happen just as he told me. Nevertheless, we must run aground on some island.'"
All right.
Thus ends the reading of the scripture. I want to preach for a few minutes. Just keep it together.
All right.
Just keep it together. Many of us like to feel we are in control, that we are not in control. Storms of life are raging all about us. Our human inclination is to resort to one or two extremes. Either to solve the problem by any means necessary, or defeated by the odds, to give up in hopeless resignation. Sadly, many are taking the second option today, jumping the ship of life when faced with overwhelming trials and tribulations.
All right.
In our text this morning, Paul is on his way to testify before Caesar. On their way, they encounter a storm. They encounter a storm as Paul is on his way to his next assignment. Sometimes storms can be evidence that you are on the right road. See, many of us believe we are supposed to curse and bind every storm that comes along. But can I tell you this morning? Be careful of always cursing your crisis.
All right.
Because your crisis may be evident that you are on the right road. Storms does not always mean you have no faith. Your storms does not always mean you have been disobedient. But sometimes storms are evidence that God has a plan for your life. Can I preach in here?
Yes, sir.
Paul tries to warn them not to sail from Crete. And at the time set, but the centurion in charge of the ship refused to listen to Paul. If they would have just listened and waited until the storm passed, but they were so anxious to get going. Many times we are so anxious to get somewhere so fast that we risk unnecessary damage just to get what we want when we want.
All right.
Some damage does not happen because you move in the wrong direction.
All right.
Some damage happens because you move at the wrong time. Be careful of trying to make things happen on your time.
All right.
Can I preach in
Go
here?
ahead, Pastor.
Do it.
They made a mistake not listening to the man of God. They found themselves in a mess. But God took their mess and turned it into a miracle. And I know many of you been saved all your life. You were born with Holy Ghost power. You were born speaking in tongues. You were born with the power of the Holy Ghost. All right. But there's a few of us this morning that can testify we have made some bad decisions. Turn my mistake into a miracle. All right. Keep the ship from falling apart. They had no clue on what to do next. They had given up hope that they could survive. Paul stood up and said, don't let what it looks like frighten you. All right. Things are going to work out. Paul says the ship is going down, but you ain't. All right. Y'all missed it. Y'all are ready to tear up right there. I said, Paul says the ship will be lost and going down, but you ain't. Yeah, y'all still be so shy. The ship will be lost and there will be damage, but you gonna make it. All right. See, some of you should be shouting this morning that you lost some stuff, but you didn't lose your mind. All right. When everything else around you was falling apart, you had something break down, but you survived. You got some damage on you, but you still survived. So I refuse to complain about what I lost. All right. Because I praise God over how I still survived. Can I preach y'all? My brothers and sisters, when the storms seem out of control, let your convictions control your conclusions. The church today has manufactured too much pep rally worship. Worship that makes you dance and shout. But then you can navigate the storm of life when the shout is over. What can keep you going when the shout ain't working? I have an answer for you this morning. It is your conviction about God. That God will help you navigate and manage the difficulties that come your way. You don't believe it? Look at your text this morning. It's in verse number 25. Paul says, I know what it looks like. I know that you may be thinking that you can't make it. But I have faith in God. I see the storm. I see the wall is the only one on the ship, only one on the ship who will have a conversation with the Lord. And the Lord tells him, don't be afraid. You will not die in this storm. See, some of you, people can understand why you're still smiling, but you've been broken. Why you still press on? Are you still have some damage? Why you still keep your head up? Why you still get up after you've been knocked down? Because just like Paul, the people around you don't know conversation with our God. The haters are trying to figure it out, but they don't have no idea. You have led to. And I wonder if I got anybody out there that can testify. I've had a free spirit. I know what my God can do. I've experienced God calling the water. I've experienced God lifting me. I've experienced God carrying me. I've experienced God protecting me. I gotta go. Oh, I gotta go. But the Lord says, I don't want you to miss the point of the lesson of this text. And here it is. It was a ship that got caught in the storm. And the ship became shipwrecked as a result of the storm. Can I say it again? There was a ship that got caught up in the storm. There was a ship that became shipwrecked as a result of the storm. Don't miss this point. I come by to tell you that storms are sometimes good. Because storms will sometimes point you in the right direction. Storms can sometimes open your eyes to see who has all power in the palm of their hand. I imagine I need to suggest to you that what wanted to wreck you is the very thing that God will bless you. I need to suggest to you that what tried to break you is the very thing that God will use to bless you. I need to let you know that what that can stand up and testify. God can use your storm to set you free. You gotta recognize they ain't been set free until the storm came. Paul was in chains. Paul was a prisoner. But the storm took him in another direction. Is there anybody out there that can stand up and testify? I just gotta keep it together. Don't you dare fall apart. God will guide your shield. Even if you lose somebody, thank God you didn't lose your life. Even if you've been broken, thank God God helped you to survive. Is there anybody out there that can wave your hand? I don't care what the world do. I know we're living in dangerous times. I know it looks dark out there, but I thank God that even when I could not see my way through, God made a way through. Even when my back was up against the wall, God provided for me. God turned my midnight into day. Just keep it together. Don't you dare fall apart. God said you gon' make it. God said you gon' make it. God said your family gon' make it. God said your children gon' be alright. If there's anybody out there that can give God praise, yeah, I've been shipwrecked. I've been damaged. I've been broken. But thank God, He still set me free. Just keep it together. When it seems like the ship going down, thank God that even though
the things went down. You did. The ship may go on. But you ought to give God praise you didn't drown. This for another time the doors of the church is open. But to give you something to go home with. They were throwing things overboard, trying to keep the ship to stay up. I don't want you to miss it. Because God just told on divine assignment. You on Facebook Live and Zoom, you here in the congregation. Sometimes you got to throw stuff overboard so you can lighten your ship. Everybody ain't meant to be with you always. Some people just meant to be in your life for a season. Oh, y'all ain't hear me. Quit trying to carry everybody with you to the journey God has for you. There are some people meant to be in your life for eternity, and some just for a season. And then some things we hold on to, and your ship going under, because you may need to throw it overboard. You keep